what the necessary and proper clause could be. The elastic clause, very good. So in the elastic clause and the necessary and proper clause, it allows the government to stretch out the laws and put in laws wherever they seem necessary. So here's just a political cartoon. So it's a judge establishing a national bank was necessary to carry out Congress's power to tax. And you have the state of Maryland saying exactly that's why we want it stopped, because they do not want to pay taxes.
Gibbons versus Ogden. Both men operated steamboats traded from port to port. Ogden worked under New York state license and said that it gave him exclusive authority to work the Hudson River between New York and New Jersey. Gibbons had a federal license and worked the same area. What law takes precedence, state or federal? Federal gives government the right to regulate interstate commerce.
So you want to highlight that the federal law takes precedent. And so in this case, you have two men that are, one's in New York, one's in New Jersey, and they are trying to operate in the same waters, but under so the federal law allows them to have, operate in the same waters in the Hudson River. So here's another political cartoon. So you have a steamboat on the left representing New York, steamboat on the right representing New Jersey and the rest of the United States. So it says, get out, New York gave me the exclusive right to operate steamships in New York waters. And then on the other side is the rest of the United States saying that it's wrong because New York gave the entire United States the exclusive right to regulate interstate commerce, which now allows them to operate in the same waters.
Louisiana Purchase. Background: 1801 French get Louisiana from Spain. U.S. has interest in purchasing New Orleans. Access to the Mississippi River is vital to the settlement of frontier. Jefferson worried about French control over the region.
So you want to put a star next to this slide as well. Louisiana Purchase, one of the main things Jefferson did during his presidency. Why do you think it's important to purchase New Orleans? Why is that the main?
Ports.
Ports, exactly. So you have ports in New Orleans that give them access to the Mississippi River, which makes everything easier to trade. So here you have a picture showing the Mississippi River. So here's the area that we're trying to purchase, New Orleans, the ports are here, and then this is the whole Mississippi River, which is what we want to access for trade routes. And here, so this is territory that the United States currently owns before the Louisiana Purchase. This is the French territory that is going to be what we purchase in the Louisiana Purchase. So it starts down here in New Orleans, and then the United States gets this whole territory right here.
Louisiana Purchase. Jefferson sends James Madison to offer France $10 million for New Orleans. Napoleon sells entire territory for $15 million. Is this allowed in the Constitution? Strict versus loose interpretation. But Jefferson approves of sale. This increases debt, but also the size of the U.S.
You want to highlight that Napoleon sells the territory for $15 million, and the strict versus loose interpretation of the Constitution. So from previous lessons, what do we remember about Jefferson's interpretation of the Constitution? Is it strict, or what does he favor, strict or loose? Strict, right? So if he favors strict, why do you think he went against his policy and allowed the Louisiana Purchase?
Because he had no choice.
Not that he had no choice. He had a choice.
But he had to,
What?
for the water ports, so he could
For
trade.
water ports, and it would expand the United States, so it's not under enemy control anymore. So here, another picture. So this green is showing what Jefferson purchased for 15 mil from the French. So again, down here in New Orleans, all of this territory over here is still owned by the Spanish, so we own most of the United States, but not all of it.
Lewis and Clark Expedition, 1804 to 1806. Jefferson commissions Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to explore Louisiana territory from St. Louis to the Pacific Ocean for a new map. Exploration took 2.5 years. Report on geography, analyze climate, and establish relations with the Indians. Strengthen U.S. claims of West and Oregon territory.
So put a star next to this slide, Lewis and Clark expedition, another important aspect of Jefferson's presidency. So he sends these two men who gather up another 48, and they go explore the territories that are west of the territories that we just purchased from the French. So what Jefferson's hoping to find is, he doesn't really know honestly, it's just geography and hoping to establish relations with the people in those territories so we can hopefully buy those territories from them. So here is a picture of Lewis and Clark's expedition. So it starts here in St. Charles, and they cover a bunch of states until they get all the way until like the Washington and Oregon territory. So here is Lewis and Clark. Anybody know who that is?
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea, good. So here's just their voyage and discovery, what they discovered on their expedition.
Importance of purchase, double size of U.S., U.S.-controlled Mississippi River, removed France from North America, established a precedent for buying territory.
So highlight that it established a precedent for buying territory. Does anyone remember what the word precedent means? Think back to Washington's president. Okay? Tradition, an example. So here is another picture showing the Louisiana territory we bought. So we had the territory in blue. We purchased the Louisiana territory, which doubled the size of the United States. So that is where the notes end for today. So since Jefferson believes in a strict constitution, do you think it was a good idea or a bad idea for him to go and buy the Louisiana territory? Good idea, why? Expanded the U.S. So you guys are going to get into an activity on the Louisiana Purchase. And then there's also an activity on Lewis and Clark. I'll hand that out after this. You guys are just going to work with the person next to you or behind you to complete this. So this activity is a letter from the French to Thomas Jefferson stating their demands for the Louisiana Territory. Just move back and forward. So here, in this activity, you're going to have a bunch of scenarios that are provided in the letter, and then on the back, you are going to have 4 courses of action, and then on the other, there's a chart. You're going to have to say 2 reasons why Jefferson should support this action, and 2 reasons why he should not support this action. And then at the bottom, there is an option to choose the best choice, and you guys are going to give your reasoning for choosing what choice you did. And then you guys can work on that. I'm just going to hand out the Lewis and Clark one as well. So in this Lewis and Clark activity, So in this Lewis and Clark activity, it's just a quick reading where you are going to just read about their expedition, and then there are a few questions to follow the reading. Joey, you had a question?
Yeah.
What's up? Yeah. Same thing with the Lewis and Clark one. You guys can work with the person next to you.
I'll be back.
So what you're going to do is, this is a letter from the French. You read this, the actions of the French state. On the back, there's 4 courses of action that Jefferson can take. And then you're going to read all these, read the letter, and then you're going to give 2 reasons why you should support this, or why 2 reasons why you should. And then at the bottom, you're going to pick the best choice out of these and give your reasons for why you think it's best. Sure. Thanks. I'm ready to go on.
Yes. I know, but keep No, I don't, but this way. No, I know, but I know that.
Like in certain areas.
So you could look
Poser,